What's up, everybody? It's your boy, and we're getting into some stuff now. This thing is coming along, and it's coming along good. So right now, I'm not even going to show you this. The heads, or the helmet's right over here behind the camera. And I got these third layer of paint on this thing, and I was having a hard time with some of this stuff, but it's coming out. But everything I mentioned in the last video as far as sanding it is good, and you definitely want to wet sand it. And literally, you just take your this is kind of what it looks like. This is your 800 grit, which the link to this product is below. You can get it from Amazon. It's actually pretty cheap, really cheap actually. And once you paint it, and note to self, if you're using this acrylic paint, because I want this to be really rock hard, is I've been sanding it about 24 hours after the coat, and if you have any spots that it's a little thick, it's not ready. It's not ready. So what I'm doing is I put another coat on. I waited 2 days. I did a couple other fine tuning, sanding with the 800 grit, and that makes it really smooth. Knocks out. You basically, when you run your hand over it, you want it to be. You don't want to feel like any kind of grittiness whatsoever. It should feel like real smooth. That 800, literally I had it in my sink with water. You don't need to do that, but that's what I was doing. And I kind of had the water running on it, like really, light's coming in here, really light water. And then I was just kind of going back and forth on it until I was kind of knocking down all of the kind of rough spots. And so it's coming along really good. And so I got my third coat of paint. I think that's all I'm gonna need, hoping that's all I need. And that's just one can of the paint, that acrylic paint. Links in the description. Just kind of, I'm putting everything in the description. So basically, as I'm realizing maybe I need to get this or I need to get that, I'm putting all those in the description. And so today, while that's drying, I was like, I'm gonna get something put out. And so I went and got this battery pack, and this is what it looks like. Battery pack. I was afraid it was going to be too big. There's some stats. It's called a power bank. And link for the description on Amazon so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So when you're watching this, you can be like, oh, okay, I get it. But it has a USB input. It's got a round 9-volt input for your remote, your radio frequency remote. And then it's got a 12-volt input. Comes with cables. At first I was like, what the heck? This thing's not working right. So you can use this, plug into this, but I'm going to show you. You're probably thinking, well, this is a 5-volt system. And I was reading some reviews on different things. There's 5-volt, 9-volt, 12-volt lighting systems. The link below shows exactly the lights I'm using, and the 5 volts use less juice. If I'm reading this right, use less electricity, and so the power bank the battery backup, whatever, should last longer. At least that's what I'm thinking. I'm not an electrician. If I'm completely off my rock, don't know what I'm talking about, leave a comments below and be like, oh, you big dummy. It doesn't really matter either way, but whatever. So that was my guess. First time doing this. And so in this, there is a USB output that is 5 volts exactly. But doing some research, and a couple of folks were commenting, shout outs, thank you very much, that to get these lights to work properly over a long distance, because I got 4 strings of LEDs I think it's going to take to pile this thing on, you need to run separate wires periodically through this when you're wiring up, and we'll get into that later. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the one input for the controller, which is the main input that's going to go to the remote that looks like this. The link's in the description. This white part is the radio frequency remote. So literally it plugs straight into this, and then this plugs straight into the lights that go in here. And I got this thing, I was like, please work, please work, please work. So when you get these, it comes in a pack like this. This is your radio frequency remote, this little one. And they have a couple different ones. It comes with a battery, and there's this little plastic piece right here that kind of goes in here, and you pull that out. Save that so you're not letting your battery run down, kind of like on your car when you're not using it. You plug it in here and check this out. You turn it on. The remote works. I don't even need, I can have this like in my pocket, turn it on and off. It's got a, which I'm gonna pretty much use, there's a green button here that says auto, and it's gonna cycle through all the different options that are on there. I might adjust the brightness depending on how the colors come through my paint job. And I'm gonna test some of these lights as I mentioned last time. Before I put the clear on, I'm going to not take this and slide it in there, but I'm gonna just take some random strings of LEDs and kind of hold them in there. And I'll use a flashlight as well because it's easier to see like thick spots where like the light doesn't get through as much. And then I'm gonna kind of make a mental note of that, and I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna wet sand that down a little bit just to balance out the light. So it's not like, so we don't have like a dark spot here and a light spot down here. But as you can see, this thing cycles through the colors, uses all the colors of the rainbow. It's pretty sweet. It's cycling through patterns. So you can't really see the patterns right now because I haven't lined all this stuff up. But what I'm gonna do, oh, I don't think I mentioned this. So I went, because I was having a hard time, and they don't really get that warm. I was having a hard time getting this to go down in the head because there's that lip. So what I did is I cut lines here. I got one here, one on the front right here, and then another one on this side. And so when I'm going to put this in the tube, I can curl it up, and then it'll slide down in, and then then it'll open up and it'll snap into place. And when I put the helmet, the actual like construction helmet that goes up in there, and I fill that in, it'll be nice and tight against the wall. And then I'm gonna mount, which you'll see later, I'm gonna mount this on the inside of this. And then once all that stuff's mounted in there, I saw another video, you can get like these foam sheets or whatever, like cushion type stuff. And I'm gonna probably use spray glue or some kind of spray adhesive, maybe, and I'm gonna line the inside of it so, you know, when it's on my head, I don't have like, you know, cardboard if I'm moving around or whatever. And I just saw their videos do it, so I assume that's probably an issue. So that's what I'm doing. So I want to show you this. I was kind of excited to light this thing up, that this is the remote that works. What I'm gonna do today is I'm just gonna literally duplicate halfway down. As you know, I measured, we got 29 rows. Didn't quite fit 30, at least I don't think it will, unless my measurement's off. If it does 30, great, it'll be 15 on top, 15 on the bottom. And if you've seen some of Marshmello's videos, the pattern will go this way on top and this way on the bottom, or vice versa. And so what I'm gonna do, I think how he pulls that off is these lights, as you can see, they're going in this direction, which that's counterclock, well, it's technically the bottom. So that's actually going clockwise. So I'm gonna, and on these, there's little arrows that are on the actual LED strips. And so I'm gonna have the arrows going this way to follow this around. It's very key that you do that, unless you want the whole thing back and forth, which is, I think would look weird. But I'm gonna go halfway up with all the LEDs going this way. And then I'm gonna turn it basically upside down. I'm gonna take this strip, flip it, and I'm gonna go in the opposite direction. And I'm basically just gonna line them up. I'm not doing any wiring. I'm just gonna end to end stack them all the way up, and make sure they fit. I got my measurements right. Then, because this is gonna take a minute, because I want to make sure it's nice. And I'm also, that's another thing why I cut this, because I want to make sure. Well, when I get into wiring it, I was worried it was gonna stretch the cable or anything. It didn't really mess that up at all. I'm not gonna be bending it too much because then you'll break the circuits, because these are kind of fragile. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll get into like soldering and where the wires go and all that, because I'm gonna be kind of figuring this out myself, because I want to make sure, I have a feeling when I get to the flip and I get the other row, I either have to, I'm not really sure I'm gonna do that. So I think I'm gonna have to run a new signal from the start, I think, or I'm gonna have to splice into this initial signal coming off here and run that to start halfway going the opposite direction. So the signal is the exact same, but they're kind of crossing. And so if you watch some of the videos like Marshmello's at like Ultra and some of these other places, you'll notice at least the helmet design I like, the patterns kind of crisscross and they look like they're merging together, and I gotta believe that's how he did it. So I'm gonna get into that. Once the wiring and all that's gonna be a wholly different video. This is basically me putting these on, and then that's just giving me time to get the helmet to dry. Once I get a final sanding on this, then I'll do a video. It might be after I'm not gonna wire. I'm gonna probably do all this. Next video will be what the helmet looks like, which I'm just looking at right now. It looks pretty good. I'm not kidding. It looks pretty good. So the next video is gonna be I'm gonna do more of a wet sand, so you can see kind of how shiny it's starting to get. No clear coat yet, and I might even try to do a video showing how I'm testing the thickness of the paint. And then it'll be ready for clear. I'll put 3 coats of clear, at least that's what I was recommended on. It depends on how glossy it looks. Then I'll go and I still haven't gotten this yet. I gotta order, and I'll put it in the description of the next video, some of the rubbing compound, which is like for car paints, and that'll get it even glossier. And then I'm using car polish, straight up. I'm gonna be using car polish, not wax, car polish, because it's got a very fine abrasive on it. And that should give us like a showroom car type shine on the paint, and it should look money. And then we'll go into putting the eye inserts and the mouth insert in, because that has to be done after the paint, and that will be the last thing on the helmet before we do this. And so I'll probably be doing that before I start wiring this, because this wiring, I'm telling you, this is gonna be like, it's gonna take some time. Hope this makes sense, and let's get to it. All right, I forgot to mention, you want to, I mean, it says in the instructions, but just so you know, you're gonna want to cut right there, right between the copper, and there's like a line right there, and it says you're gonna cut right there. This may look like it's overlapping, but it's not. But see how that's stacked? Like, this thing is gonna be full of lights. Like, that's what I'm trying to go for. Check this out. So, I got one 16.6 feet. Why it comes out to that, I have no idea. 5 meters, basically. Links in description. Gets you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 rows. If you notice here around the mouth, you can see closely. See how I stopped it right before the mouthpiece? Now, I don't plan on using the mouthpiece, but why waste the lights going across? I saw somebody else do this, and it actually turned out really good. But it looks like they like blacked out. I don't know if they painted, maybe they used some paint over this that went over the mouth. But instead of just like having to solder extra lines around here, because they're not going to use the mouthpiece, because this is not going to be a grill. It's going to be just like a tint. You could do that if you just want to save time. I just didn't trust myself on having to black that out and worrying about it. So I'm going to cut it and I'll solder that. But you can see that's how close you're going to get right to the edge of that. But you get 5. So if there are 29, now let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so this matches up perfectly with my measurement. Number 7 goes right there. So I might have to get another row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get a 5th. God. So I'm gonna put a note. I'm gonna update the description to say this, at least in this video. You're gonna need five rolls of these lights. And yeah, what I also did was at the end, when I got close, I started here and started working back because I want to have, just to make it easy on me when I'm doing the power lines, these 2 lines. And to save me some extra soldering, I'm gonna power these lines. So these 2 in the front, these 2 in the back. These are gonna both get power. So the front and back are gonna get power. So there shouldn't be any dimness, which I was reading. You can get some dimness in these if you don't have consistent power going all the way through. And so I should have, since I'm gonna need 5 rows, it's like 4.8, but obviously 5. I'm gonna have 10 of these. I'm gonna wire together and then connect to my power supply. And depending on if 5 volts will be good, I might be able to use the 9 volt option depending on the amount of wires. I'm not gonna blow anything, but so yeah. So just when you're getting to this, you're getting ready to order 5, not 4, 5, and then don't forget you're gonna stop. It's not even because it's not gonna be 30. It's not gonna be 30. So I'll probably go like, I don't know, 15. I'll probably go 15 on the bottom section, the mount section, and then 16 on the top. I mean, the average person's gonna be like, they're not gonna notice. But being that the eyes, the face is kind of a little bit lower, it's not centered vertically, that kind of makes sense. And that's it. 5 packs it is. I'm still gonna measure this out. This whole area doesn't get cut. It's just where you can see your eyes, and I'll measure that soon. But want to get some of this work done. I got to order another roll, and the next video I'm gonna finish it up when it comes in, but it'll be next week. And I might I'm also gonna show you in another video the painting, so I'm kind of going back and forth. So want to get something out to you so we can see we got some progress made, and we'll see you next time.